I know what you're thinking. Vanessa, where have you been? It has been 3 weeks and I've not posted a single video. Do I have an explanation for that? Not really, but I am back now. So welcome to the first ever Motivation Monday. Today I'm going to be teaching you my top 7 tips on how you can get back on track when you've kind of fallen off the wagon, like myself. I use these tips every single time. They are pretty much my Bible when this happens. From my personal experience, it usually takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks of constantly reminding myself of these and really making an effort to put them into my daily routine. And then I wake up just kind of randomly and I'm like, oh my god, like, yes, I am me, I feel totally great. And then yeah, you're back into things. So it does take time, be patient, but if you have fail-proof steps on how to get back into your routine, you can wake up feeling like you again in no time. So before we get into step number 1, I need you to do something for me real quick. Just super simple. Accept where you are right now, that you are not where you want to be, that you have room for improvement, and that you need help. Maybe you're totally lost, or maybe you're just, you could just be doing a little bit better. If you keep on telling yourself that everything is fine, you're not going to get anywhere. And that is not where you want to be. You want to be improving, you want to be getting better, you want to be back on track, moving towards your goals. Just take a moment, take a deep breath, know that everything will be fine, and that you will be back to yourself, progressing, moving forward in no time. So with that being said, let's get into step number 1, which is to determine the trigger. Now that you've come to terms with the fact that you have fallen off track a little bit, you need to understand why, so you can prepare for the future and anticipate when it might actually happen again. If you don't do this, you run the risk of falling victim to this circumstance every single time it happens. So for me, my trigger was exam season, so that was back in February, I think. Not feeling like I had studied enough, not feeling like I was ready for the weeks ahead. But now that I know how I react to intense amounts of stress, I can use that to my advantage as opposed to letting it, break me down, ruin the routine that I've created and the progress that I've made. This is definitely easier done if you are at the beginning, but even if you're like a couple weeks into it, maybe even a couple months into it, just try to go back in time a little bit. Narrow it down to that one specific moment in time if you can, and understand how you felt. So were you stressed? Were you anxious? Were you sad? Were you freakishly happy? What made you feel this way? That is the golden question. So answer that in as much detail as you can so you know moving forward not to get caught in the same trap over and over and over again. You don't need to do that to yourself. You deserve better than that, and you can do better than that. Another thing that you're going to want to do once you do narrow it down is make a list of other things that make you feel this similar way. This is definitely the biggest one because you can't really move forward without knowing what got you here in the first place. So figure it out, and then we're going to move on to number 2. So step number 2 is to drop the guilt and create a self-love practice. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds a little woo-woo, a little hubbub when people are like, oh, self-help practices, like, love yourself. But there's actually pretty solid and sound science to back this up. The way that our negative thoughts and the way that we speak to ourselves can impact our behavior and the actions that we make. So a study looking at the way that negative self-talk and body image impacts our food cravings and the things that we eat found that feelings of guilt and self-disappointment actually make us more likely to indulge in self-sabotaging behavior. So scientists have kind of concluded this as the what the hell mentality. So I've kind of already failed, might as well just go all in. If you eat one bad thing, you're kind of like, what the hell, I'm just gonna eat everything because I've already failed. And then we just go for it. Things that we don't need to do, that we don't really want to do, but we do it anyways because that's the way the mind works. So if you are feeling guilty at this point for falling off track, not really doing the things that you've been hoping to be, not making the progress that you've been hoping to make, it can actually be even worse to hold that against yourself, to feel guilty, to feel disappointed in yourself. That can actually send you deeper into this downward spiral. So best thing is just to be like, you know what? I am where I am. I've done what I've done. I'm not going to attack myself for anything that I've done previously. I'm just going to take where I am now and move forward, try to do better. As for the self-love practice and where this ties into things, a study conducted on 84 college females, they thought it was going to be like a taste testing thing, but it was actually just donut eating. So these girls were split into 2 groups, the control group and then the self-love practicing group. They were asked to both eat as many donuts as they please, just donuts were on the table, they can indulge, take as many as they want, and half the girls were spoken to ahead of time by instructors that were like, hey, everybody's eating donuts in this study, so I really hope you don't feel bad about it. Take as many as you want, there's literally no reason to feel guilty. And they participated in activities that reinforce a positive self-body image, positive emotions, and things like that. So these were all positive exercises, them going through motions, being like, I love my body, I cherish my body, I want to take care of myself, I love myself, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the study, they found that the girls that were taught self-love and reassurance beforehand ate significantly less And when asked about their emotional state, they felt less guilt, regret, and more satisfaction in their decision when compared to the control group, the group that literally was just like, hey, come do this taste test, just kidding, you're eating donuts, knock yourself out. So this could be for a variety of reasons, but some of the behavioral specialists on the study thought that maybe the girls were engaging in emotional eating behavior, so they ate some and they kind of felt bad, but since they felt bad, they want to comfort themselves with more food. Pretty sure we've all been there. When you're emotional, food usually makes you feel better. So it's important on a daily basis that you incorporate these self-love and self-reassurance practices. This could be anything from a meditation to a gratitude journal saying, you know, you're grateful for your body, you're grateful for the way you look, what you have, things like that. Just bring a little bit more gratitude in your life, as well as just standing in front of the mirror and being like, you know what? I really like you. I love you. You look great. You're beautiful. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Because when we feel more confident and content with who we are much less inclined to engage in that self-sabotaging behavior. So step number 3 is to change your language. Stop telling yourself you can't. I can't eat that. I can't do that. I can't indulge in that. Whatever. Yes, you can. Just think about it. How do you feel when someone is trying to force you to do something? Your automatic reaction is to rebel. You're like, screw you, you're not gonna tell me what I can do. That happens internally, even though it's just yourself telling you that you can't do this or you can't have that. You're still subconsciously rebelling against that, and then you just want it more. How many times have you seen junk food and you're like, oh my god, no, I can't have that. And then you're like, but I really want it. And then you just kind of, you lose control and you just go all in, you have it all. It's because you're being too restrictive and you can't do that to yourself. When you say you can't, you are automatically setting yourself up for failure. So instead, just change your language to I won't or I don't want to. Something that actually really helped me, because I struggled with like emotional eating. When I get stressed, I just kind of want to eat everything. So instead of saying I can't have that because that's bad for me, or I can't do this, I can't do that, I was like, literally I said this to myself, I don't want that because I love myself too much. I said that to myself every single time I was tempted by a behavior that I knew was not going to serve me. I would literally sit down and be like, nope, I don't want that because I love myself too much. And I would walk away, no problems. Every time I say I can't have it, I'm like, oh, but I really want it. And then it's bad news. But if I say I won't, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I do love myself too much, so I'm gonna go do something else. No, thank you. So now that it is actually you making the decision and you feel that way, you are much more likely to stick with it. So cut out all words that make you feel restricted because they're not gonna serve you in any way. So step number 4 is to focus on the basics. It is very easy for us to be like, all right, I'm gonna get back on track. No more sugar, cardio every single day, weights 5 times a week, sleep is gonna be 9 hours a day, water a gallon a day, whatever, and your body is like, oh my god, this is way too much, something wavers, and then you get that whole what the hell mentality, and you're like, oh my god, I failed, might as well just go all in, starting it on Monday. No more, because you're just setting yourself up for failure yet again. You focus on too many things at once, you can't get them all done. So instead, just start with 4 main pillars. That is your sleep, your nutrition, your stress management, and your movement. To start, just focus on going to bed early enough so you can get as many hours as you need, eating whole, dense foods, having a stress management practice, so whether that is meditation or breathing, whatever, and then moving every single day. This doesn't have to be a crazy intense workout. This can just be maybe like 3 10-minute walks a day. Just get out there, get moving, get things flowing. That's it. If you focus on these 4 and then you're kind of like, you know what, I got them down, these are my priorities, then you can start being a little bit more specific. But start slow and add incrementally, because that's how you make it sustainable. So tip number 5 is to take time for rest and recovery. Just do something for you. So whether that's getting a new book, going for a massage, having a glass of wine in the bath, watching like Gossip Girl or something, just take time to relax, because you're under enough stress right now. You're probably mentally freaking out, the fact that, you know, you're moving backwards. So just take some time to check out, to just relax a little bit. It is so much better to manage your stress that way so that you can ground yourself and then start moving forward again. So take time. So tip number 6 is to spend time with people who make you feel good. When you walk into a room of people that are super hyped, super positive, you know, just in a good mood, you can't help but leave that interaction being like, you know what? I feel good. Like, I feel good about myself. I'm on top of the world right now. And vice versa, when you walk into a room of people that are complaining, people that are being negative, they're just like putting each other down or putting themselves down, you're kind of like, I don't really feel that good. Something's off, you know? You're not stoked, you're not pumped, you're not super energetic. So get yourself around those people that are gonna make you pumped, that are gonna give you energy, that are gonna give you a more optimistic, positive outlook on life. Alone time is definitely important in this process as well, but you're doing all that with your me time and your journaling and your reading. So get out there, but make sure you're spending time with the right people. Make note of how you feel when you leave an interaction with someone. Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? Depending on how you feel, maybe mark them a little bit lower on your priority list. You are not being selfish for staying away from people that do not make you feel good about yourself. That is so important and something that takes, unfortunately, a long time to learn. But the people you surround yourself with are literally so crucial to your overall well-being. So make sure you're getting around the right people, the people that lift you up, the people that get you, and the people that inspire you. So tip number 7, our last tip, is to reflect periodically. Through this time, you're trying to do a lot of growing. You're trying to understand a little bit more about yourself, take conscious steps to move forward to get over this slump or this plateau or this period of where you're kind of just in a funk. So you're gonna wanna reflect constantly, maybe daily if you can, or weekly is good too. Sundays is always a great day to get reflection in, just to make sure that the things you're doing are actually working. So start with the things that you like that are really helping you move forward, kind of maybe cross off the things that you're like, doesn't really work for me, and then maybe a couple things that you wanna try. You also wanna make sure that you remind yourself of your goals. So why do you want to move forward? Make them clear, make them specific, get them into a sentence if you can, or make a list of them so that you can look at them every day being like, okay, this is what I'm moving towards and this is why I want it. So that concludes our first Motivation Monday. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can also share with your friends if they need a little bit more motivation. Send it on, share the love, do what you need to do. You can also follow me on Instagram at BSO Lifestyle. But until then, I hope you incorporate some of these 7 tips that I've given you today into your daily routine so you can start moving forward and get out of whatever slump you're in. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.